Welcome back to Gibbo MMA. We are reviewing the last UFC card of the year. UFC Vegas 112. Manel Kape gets the win over Brandon Royval. First round finish via TKO. And he calls his shot for Joshua Van. We're going to review this card briefly. It was a bit of a slugfest. It felt like it was never going to end. Just decision after decision. And oh man, it was very apexy to end the year, and then we got to Melquezel Costa with that head kick over Morgan Shariev, saved the card, and then went back to then again another freaking decisionator grappling fight with Cezary Olajaychek, and then Kevin Vallejo saves the card again with that spinning back fist on Giga Chikadze. So let's start with the main event. Manel Kape gets the win here, and he made some valid points when he was calling out Joshua Van, because Joshua Van stepped in on like 10 days notice to fight Brandon Royval early this year. And it was actually because Manel Kape had to pull out due to foot injury. So on the post-fight speech, Manel Kape said, "You wouldn't be champ if it wasn't for me being injured." And I gotta say, you know my thoughts in the preview about Manel. Not my type of guy. Don't really like him. But as a fighter, and I gotta, give credit where credit is due. Great fighter. And he made some sense on the mic this time in regard to Joshua Van. I mean, he did the work, but again, Manel Kape was originally supposed to fight Royval earlier this year. He had to pull out due to foot injury, and Joshua Van steps in, gets the win, and then gets Pantoja. But Kape says, "You've got my title," because if Manel finished Royval earlier this year as originally scheduled, he could have been fighting against Pantoja the other week. So, it's up to Manel Kape and Tatsuda Taira who gets the title shot next. It would just be what the UFC wants to do. I feel like they're going to go with Tatsuda Taira and do it, if they can get it in Japan. But either Taira or Kape, I don't mind who gets it. Both would be a good fight with Joshua Van. And Brandon Royval, very unlucky. He was looking great in the first round, landed some good body kicks, landed some good giga kicks, until he got caught backed up against the cage, and Manel Kape just blitzed him, hit him with like a right hook or a straight right from the southpaw stance. Like a right hook and then a straight left. Dropped him. He was kind of, and I'll post my live reaction today as well. And you'll see Manel Kape even landed a strike on the way down. Was it Kape? Fuck. Maybe I'm getting confused with Kevin Vallejo, because Giga and Royval both got finished against the cage. So on the way down, Royval was freaking, like, he was out, and then he came back to it, and as Herb Dean saw that he was out, and then, you got to react and then step in. As he was stepping in, he kind of came back to it, but I think it was inevitable. Kape was just going to keep ground and pounding him. So good stoppage, I believe. It just, he was out during that sequence and then came back to it. So fine with the stoppage. And Kevin Vallejo will now be a ranked fighter in the featherweight division. He gets the stunning round 2 TKO over Giga Chikadze. He's only 24 years old, Giga 37. So Kape and Vallejo get performances of the night, 50k bonus. And Giga, he came out firing. He was spamming leg kicks. He did check a kick which actually split open his shin. He was just gushing blood. But he looked like he was winding back the clock. He gave it all. Like, there was no hesitancy. I was really liking how this fight was going from both guys. But Kevin was really patient. He eventually got his man up against, caught against the cage a bit. and then fired his shots. And, he's like 3-4 inches shorter. Bit of Taporia about him too with that boxing style. And yeah, I got to give it to Kevin, man. He was, a pretty big favorite, but, a guy with the experience like Giga in the stand up, he did extremely well here. I think Giga, this could, he's on a 3-fight losing streak now. This could be, you know, I hope they just match him up with some fun people, in their mid 30s like himself, unranked fighters, and just have some good fun 3-round stand up fights. Because, yeah, he was on a 7-fight win streak in the UFC, and then he versed Calvin Kattar. But what's next for Kevin Vallejos? As we look at the rankings for the featherweight division, he'll be number 15, and then above him is David Onama at 14, then Dan Ige, Patricio Pitbull, Silva, and Josh Emmett. I mean, geez, Josh Emmett would be a fun fight. Two shorter guys, heavy boxing. I think that might be just too big of a leap for Kevin. I think, a David Onama or a Dan Ige would be a good test, especially Dan Ige. He's always a great test for anybody. Such a well-rounded guy. Or Patricio Pitbull. Give him a name. Give him a Pitbull. Winnable fight there for sure. So yeah, good signs for the only 24 years old from Argentina. Great signs for the featherweight division in the future, as we could see a future champ in Kevin Vallejos. Then we had Cezary Olejniczak, the Polish, versus Cesar Almeida. Not a entertaining fight, making his UFC debut. He got the job done. He went heavy grappling. He's a Polish guy, good stand-up. And it was funny listening to Michael Bisping talk about it, like with his grappling, and kind of saying it was a bit boring during the fight. You got to capitalize on those positions. And I was like, yes. But where was this talk when Islam was fighting? Islam did way worse in the ground and pound. All he did was lay on him as well. And you're like trying to say like, oh, if you want to be a champ and, if you want to get fans, I mean, look at Islam. He's finished blokes, but if you look at his last performance, the guy had like 20 or 19 minutes of control time and landed like barely 30 significant strikes. So, whereas Olejniczak, he had good control time, and yeah, I think he just wanted to get the win here. Caesar's real dangerous on the feet. He's actually, a nominee. He's the winner of Knockout of the Month, January. That just brings up, I'm going to be doing a Knockout of the Year bracket. So for each month, there's a winner. And those winners for each month are now put into a bracket, and we'll be doing votes via my Instagram. So go follow my Instagram at Gibbo MMA, because we're going to be voting on the Instagram polls who progresses to the next round in the bracket to determine Knockout of the Year. So each month there's a winner. I've just got to do December now, which could be Marquelzo Costa or Kevin Vallejos. They might get December, but essentially each month has a winner. And so, for example, August, I believe, is Lerone Murphy with a spinning elbow. So he's, the winner of August. So he's now... So yeah, there was like some months where there was like stacked knockouts, but because they didn't win it, they can't progress into this bracket. So I'll be starting that this week, the Knockout of the Year bracket. We'll be doing post up, getting people's votes, and yeah, so go follow the Instagram page, guys. But yeah, as we move to the guy who really got this card back into gear was Marquelzo Costa with that crazy head kick knockout. Just came out of nowhere. Just Morgan Sharia had his hand up, had his glove up. It smacked his glove into his head and still knocked him out flush. I don't know how he didn't get a performance of the night. Like, pretty unlucky because there was a heavyweight fight, which we'll get to, which got fight of the night. yeah, I think just pretty unlucky there, not getting a performance bonus for that. And we get a draw, as I said in the preview, with Kennedy versus Marcus Pacheca. I wasn't really looking forward to it. I said it would just be a boring 3 round stand up or boring, you know, 3 rounds of shit grappling. And for a black belt, MMA's, jiu-jitsu's in the gi is a whole lot different doing jiu-jitsu in a fight without the gi. And did not look like a black belt in there, that's for sure, for Bichecha. Definitely cardio plays a big part. He's still new to MMA. Versus, big guys, hard to grab a hold of them when you don't have a gi to grab onto. So he gets a draw. Herb Dean finally did what a ref should have done a decade ago, which was take a point for an eye poke. So the second round, Kennedy got a point taken for the eye poke. So I believe that was a 10-8 to Marcus Bichecha, but you could have given it a 10-7 because he was landing some good ground and pound towards the end. If he had more gas, he could have finished the fight. He was in full mount, just elbowing him. So he could have, it was 28-28. I thought he could have won 28-27 for that fight, or 29-27, however it adds up. Felt like he could have got a 10-7 if they had given him a 10-8 for it, but they just gave him a 10-9 and then the point deduction, so that makes it a 10-8 for him in the second round. So he loses rounds 1 and 3. Forgettable fight. That just sums up the heavyweight division. King Green wins a split decision over Lance Gibson Jr. Yeah, always King Green style, hands down, talking shit. I'd like to see him land some shots and be more aggressive. He's kind of looking for the counter. Lance Gibson, I think Green must have just got in his head a bit. It was like, bro, just do a 6-punch combination and rush the guy head down, because he keeps his hands down and chin up. God, it was a tough watch, that fight. You're like, what are you circling away from? He's not going to kill you. The guy got fucking almost killed by Jalen Turner only a year ago, if that. So yeah, tough seeing to Lance Gibson Jr. there. Yaroslav Amosov, coming over from Bellator, submits, gets the Anaconda choke over Neil Magny. Calm as a bitch, Magny, who as you know, controversially got that win over Jake Matthews earlier this year after getting the ref stopped it with a second to go, then continued the fight. So good debut for the Ukrainian. Again, pretty bit of a slog of a card. Brito versus Isaac Thompson. Great debut from Thompson. First round was pretty wild and chaotic. He looked great in there. You could see he's well-rounded. A great, he was good everywhere, sound everywhere. Just versus, it was on short notice. Brito gets the decision win. A very tough physical guy, Brito. And Isaac Thompson held his own. Short notice, big moment. I think he did really well, but once he can get matched up with and have a proper camp, I think he'll do a lot better. But good signs for Australian MMA. And then fight of the night with the heavyweight, Stephen Asplund gets the win, standing TKO win in the second round over Sean Sharaf. Both guys were just cracking, man. This was a fun fight, very bloody. Sharaf got a cut right down the middle of his forehead. Right there. Nice gash. And Mark Smith was the ref. People saying he could have stopped it earlier. I agree, but at the end of the day, he was still standing. Yes, might fire a shot every 20 seconds, but every time the ref said move, fight back, he did. So, because imagine if one of those right hands he did throw just knocked out Stephen. That's why I got fight of the night. Because, just an absolute bloodbath, and both guys couldn't really drop each other. Well done to Stephen, and we get a Decision win for Luana Santos. Um, Decision win for Pat against Fire. Yeah, that was a. Yeah, that was a. Yeah, Alan Fire just clinched them up against the cage and then just didn't do anything. No level changes. Wasn't. I'm not sure what the game plan was there, putting him against the cage and not doing any damage. Because he was getting pieced up when they're in the center. So I think he was like, he's 6-1 again. These guys, the other guys, 6-0, still new guys to the sport. So I think for their level, they did pretty well for their level of fighting. And you could just see, that's what when you've only had 6 professional fights looks like, I guess, at heavyweight. So yeah, well done to them. To be honest, I'm not going to be on negative because of like skill gaps or anything, but they're in a fight. They did their best out there and with the skill they had. And Jamie gets a first round finish over Bladder, standing sort of TKO. And that's the last card of the year done. Vegas 112. Yeah, one of the more draggy. I mean, like, if it wasn't for, Costa, Vallejos, and Kape, this could have gone down as one of the worst cards. I mean, it's probably top 3 anyway of the year. But the people who needed to get the finishes to win, for the meaningful, title shot or ranking contentious fights, they did that. Cup, main event, he went out there and, delivered. Vallejos delivered on the co-main to get his ranking, and Costa, he's climbing these ranks as well. Pretty sure it's featherweight. Let me just double check. Yeah, in the featherweight division. So he might get a ranking matchup next himself. Because he's on like a 5-fight win streak now, Costa. Yeah, he's on a 5-fight win streak, so I think he might get David Onama next, maybe. So yeah, not much else to really break down in this card. Other than the fact that, the fights that needed to deliver did. And yeah, that's a wrap on 2025 UFC last ESPN card. I won't say ever, but last ESPN card for this deal, because let's see in 7 years' time where the UFC ends up with their deal, because it could end back up at ESPN after Paramount. But we'll have 6 weeks off now. We won't see the UFC until January 20-something with Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight belt. And yeah, what a year, guys. The last review. I will be doing like an awards episode throughout, the 6 weeks leading up. I'm going to do an awards episode in a week or two. I'll make up some videos to put out. Do some, best moments. Yeah, we'll do something over the holiday period. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. It's my first year. I started with the JDM Bilal card review. That was my first ever review. Nothing planned. Didn't think I would ever be standing here still doing a UFC review. But I just had to get on the mic and speak my mind about the fights that I've seen, especially when JDM won that belt. I was so stoked. I couldn't believe it. Go back, if you scroll down, 46 Raw Dog minutes is what it's called. The JDM vs. Bilal card review. But yeah, Vegas 112. I hear they're going to be maybe getting more seats in the Apex, lowering the ticket prices, because at the moment you got to pay like $1,000 or more, and then it's like a VIP sort of a way. But you get like, there's all food included. It's real. Seems like a good experience because you're right up close, but the quality of fights obviously aren't always the greatest. But I think they're trying to lower ticket prices and just kind of get general seating, which would be cool because I'd definitely go to an Apex card. Like if I could time it right, sometimes you get some banger fight cards, and to be there up close would be pretty mad because it's like real airy and echoey in there, so you can just hear everything. Whereas some venues I've been to, it's, the noise of the shots and all that kind of get lost because of the crowd noise. The room's not as echoey, but the Apex is just like an echo chamber, just like a slap, just ba 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 ba, just yeah. So I'd go to an Apex card. Probably wouldn't do the $1,000 one, VIP ticket, just more the general seating. But yeah, like not too much else to go on about. Yeah, 6 weeks off. This has been the longest period between fights since COVID, which is pretty insane. But I think it's much needed. It's been a crazy year. It's been a lot of, we get 40 plus events a year. So I'm looking forward to a bit of a break. I mean, 2 weeks in, I will start itching again for UFC fights. But it very much, by doing this, very much has like changed a bit how I watch and view the UFC now. Like, yeah, I just used to be real casual, and back in 2018, used to be pretty casual with it. And then COVID hit, got way more into it. And then, yeah, always been into it, like been watching it since I was like 9 or 10 years old, getting the pay-per-view cards on DVD. So always like been watching it, but taking it to the next level by doing reviews and previews now and posting content about it. So yeah, it's been the journey of a UFC fan, going from just a casual sort of viewer in the mid 2010s to now a full-on hardcore, and now a content creator of the sport. So quite a journey. And yeah, this year marked that year, posting videos and making content, like more content, because I started Gibbo back in 2021. And just to post stuff, all I did was Gibbo's picks, and that was it. Just a way to express and sort of get an outlet, but I was still not really doing much until this year. I really, took it to the next step, and yeah, it's been fun. But yeah, we'll be doing an award show. Go follow Gibbo MMA on the Instagram to vote for Knockout of the Year. That'll start this week. But again, subscribe, comment if you want. Don't have to be honest. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. And I'll see you, in the next episode whenever that drops. Catch you later.